Welcome to Legacy and Leadership with David McKean. In my 20 plus years in the business world, I have noticed a common theme amongst all my clients. They're phenomenal leaders who are concerned about leaving a legacy in three main areas: community, family, and financial. So join me as we talk to proven leaders in their fields about their best practices regarding legacy and leadership. Well, recently there've been a couple of press releases that I'd like to spend some time on. One talking about your report card, right, and the transformation of that report card. Can you maybe give us a little bit of background about that and what that means and the transformation there?
So, for perspective, the sort of the poverty rate at the school is about 90%.
Wow.
The backgrounds are tough for a lot of these kids. There's the data we have is that on average they enter 3 to 4 grade levels behind, depending what age they are. We take in kids from about obviously 6 through 12. The ones in high school, we don't have much time for them. So you're doing sort of a hero's job, the teachers to kind of get, and administrators and things, to get these kids caught up. Sometimes 4 years in 2 years time.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So it's a big effort. So I think we have to be clear about the difficulty of what we're asking. And that's when I talked to the teachers 2 weeks ago. My view on this is pretty simple. We're probably asking them to do, and the administrators, the hardest job there is, maybe.
Right.
And that's take kids that come from tough situations. That tough situation might be continuing. They're behind a certain amount, and we're expecting them to get them from point A to point B with a certain period of time and all that. And I always say, yes, that is what we're doing. And I'm sorry, but that is the role here. I'm the chairman of the board of this school. That is the role I play. I'm not at a school that's not in this situation. Like, we know what we're dealing with. We're choosing to be here. It's a choice.
Right.
And if we don't want to do that, meaning if we want to kind of go halfway, go through the motions a little bit, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we can't do that here.
Okay.
And so when we kind of start with that of what are we trying to get to, and that's and how do we do that? And I believe that it's just at every moment we need to make the decision that benefits the customer the best possible.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we do those little things, right? One of them is we don't have school in person on Friday. So we stack more time on Monday to Thursday. That's from a child perspective. The other side is so to put the kids in the best that has the highest likelihood of success, what does that mean for the adults in the building? Well, Friday is spent on professional development. Okay. So like certain things that are needed, right, from scheduling or I don't know, anything, grading, they get speakers in, they model classroom teaching behavior, all these types of things. There's a big professional development program, and we spend all time Friday to do that. That's really unusual for a lot of schools. And you've got to make, to create change, you've got to make structural changes. Like you either got to change the process, the people, or both. And so we change the process by having full professional development on those days. It allows teachers a break. It allows them to get stuff they're done, because a lot of times when they come in on Tuesday morning, we see it in our businesses where your day is just thrown out the window. A lot of what you attempted to plan to accomplish might not be. Theirs is probably even worse, right? They come in with kids that might be hungry or aggravated or whatever it is, or having trouble getting to school. So they're dealing with firefighting elements, and we got to put them in a position to be successful overall. And so a lot of those structural changes were made. And that's the part of the big push, in this entire endeavor, is continue to make these changes that are beneficial to the kids. We got to take some risk in how we think of it. It's risky for a school to just say, we're not going to have school on Friday.
Right.
That's a non-traditional view.
Right.
We can't really care what the crowd thinks about that. Right.
Fantastic.
And so I think that's a part of it. And everybody's unified on that. It's what our superintendent is. We pay people to do this.
Right.
And so they're experts in this field. We're going to lean on them
Right.
And we're going to push them to say, why are you not having success here or whatever it is? But generally they're in front of us saying, we need this help to have success here, or we want to change this. We had a small night school program. And by the way, I totally forgot the question.
That's okay. Keep going.
We're just going.
Keep going.
Kind of on the
Keep going.
So
Keep
if
going.
you want to cut me off, that's fine.
No.
I'll make this one last point and then I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
So we had a small night school program, 25, 40 kids that we would kind of have after hour support from. That is now 200 plus kids in night school.
Unbelievable.
I don't really know of other programs that are like that.
Right.
Okay. But there's a huge demand for kids from it's probably like threefold reasons. Yeah. The first is maybe they work during the day. Mm-hmm. They have to, but they want to go through a program. Maybe they're 17 and they're not that close to graduating. They actually they're 2-3 grade levels behind. How do they get caught up? Stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. We're not just going to put a 17, 18-year-old in a classroom with a 14-year-old.
Right.
So we got to figure out a structural way to have that. The other thing, we allow some virtual piece of that. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you have traditional behavioral issues. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not to say that everybody in night school, I want to be very clear, is a behavioral issue. Right. But based on how the program is run, it allows some of those kids to get more attention or things that they need that maybe they wouldn't, that the day school doesn't work properly for them. Yeah. Okay. I want to make another point that if you have a kid who is 13 and can't read, okay, let me tell you what they're doing. They're not just not reading in school. Yeah. They're causing problems. Right. Because they don't want you to find out. Right. So what's going to happen? Hey, Mr. McKean, can you read this right here? Slam the door. Mm-hmm. Make a problem with your friend because he's not going to put himself in a position where other people know. He's going to be embarrassed. Yeah. So how do we cut through that? Okay? Unbelievable. Wow. I'm just blown away by how outside of the box y'all have been and how focused you are on the student. But can you maybe talk about how you've handled some of these roadblocks as you've tried to help lead this school through this transformation? I mean, there's like one roadblock after another. This thing. It's kind of crazy. And frankly, I get agitated with sometimes. Yeah, I'm Dr. sure Furl, you do. He hears from me a lot about certain stuff because I get impatient about, why are we not having this fast enough or whatever it is. So, I'll just make a general statement here. So we're funded like any other public school. We're a nonprofit charter school. Every charter school in Alabama is nonprofit. There's other states that allow for-profit. Alabama doesn't. And then I'd say about 70% of our money comes from state dollars. Okay. There's about 15% that comes federal in certain buckets. And then there's a 15% from y'all's local property tax revenue that we do not get. And so the public schools, the traditional public school systems keep that. And there's an issue in the law that's a roadblock. Okay. So right now we're not getting call it $1,500-$1,800 a kid that we should be getting. 900 people, 900 kids. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So that's an issue. So that's a roadblock right there that we're trying to tackle. A big roadblock is making sure that we have the proper leadership in place at the principal, assistant principal level. Okay. We've been working through that over time. We have really good people. I'm not trying to say we don't, but we always have to be trying to do a little bit more and get a little bit more efficient or a little bit better at what we're doing. We also have to be creative. And I think that starts with that group a lot. The superintendent can't be in classrooms, checking teachers or knowing how the schedule should run or something like that all the time. That has to be that sort of middle management and upper management. They've got to be an understanding of that. So there's more pressure that has to be on there. A lot of it is teachers with a mindset of what we're trying to do. Yeah, they have to have a vision alignment. Yes, from a standpoint of the mission, right? Yeah. And then secondly is the work that goes into it, right? Yeah, because it's probably more than the normal teacher. It's absolutely more demanding. Yeah. And by the way, for the same money. Yeah. And so they're really, the people that you have that stay are really bought into the mission. Yeah, they're choosing to be there over somewhere else. Yeah. And that's what, it's sort of, it's you're finding those people. It's self-selecting, I guess.
Yeah, right.
So from a standpoint of they're going to choose to be there, or they're going to go do somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. Now the turnover is high because we do run that treadmill hard.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's a piece of it. We have a differentiated aspect of our program too, is we do heavy evaluations of students in August. It's really ongoing. But so when they start in school, little David comes in, we're saying, all right, David's good at science, but boy, he struggles in English. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, what are we going to do about that in order to actually have a structural change in how you learn or how you're doing? So we'll break that up into small groups, put you with other kids that might struggle with the English side of that, whatever it is. And so we do a lot of intervention work. Kids are pulled out of classes constantly. Mm-hmm. And we work hard on all of that. So we talk about individualized plans, and that's kind of what that means basically. Is there's heavy evaluation, and then there's a product that is created for those kids to do it. Now, can we do better at that? Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got to continue it. And I think the big thing that was going on, so the school grew pretty dramatically. You asked a little bit ago about that kind of transformation and what's transpired in the last 2-3 years. A big thing is really every day, like just pressing as hard as you can on the adults. And I don't mean that in like a mean way necessarily. I'm just saying we have to like motivate, encourage, discipline, accountability, support. So all these things go into it. And it's not just, oh, you're not doing anything, you're out of here. It's what do we need? How can we put you more successful? Do you understand what we're trying to do?
Come alongside.
What do you need? Let me model this for you. Let me partner you with another teacher, a master teacher, something like that. So there's other ways we do it. We do heavy instructional coaching. And we do also leadership coaching in the school for the leaders, for the principals. So
that's fascinating. I want to read part of a press release just so our audience can know. And this was released just over a month ago, November 13th of 2025. For the 2024 and 2025 academic year, the district, Accel Academy, achieved an 80, which is a B grade, reflecting a 38% improvement and 3-letter grade increase from the 2022-2023 grade year. That is just phenomenal.
Yeah, so in 2 years, we went from an F to a B.
That's incredible. That is just fascinating. And I really want to commend you and the board and Dr. Furl and all those who have gone before you. And I don't want this next question to be political, but it's very, very clear that a lot of the things that y'all are doing at Accel Academy are working. Quite frankly, I mean, when you look at stuff like this,
we're on the track. We're on the path to success.
Correct.
Yes,
and you recently announced a new gymnasium, which I think is $2 or $3 million. Six, excuse me. Thank you.
We had a $2 or $3 million grant.
There you go. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, $6 million new gymnasium, right, for Accel Academy, and so it's very, very clear to me that y'all as leaders are not just resting on your laurels of the most recent success, but I really mean this, not to kiss up to you, but it seems to me from my naive perspective that something is working at Accel Academy, and perhaps some other people, whether it's around the region or the state or the country, should maybe look into that a little more. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I would look, I mean, yes, I agree, you're spot on. We're doing some things that are a little different. We're figuring it out as we go. We're not kind of sticking into a rigid box of what we think, how we think we should operate. The leaders are very, they're adaptive. Like they're trying to move on what the situation, what's needed. For example, we've never offered transportation until about probably 2 years ago. We started a year ago or 2 years ago. We started with like 1 bus. We're now up to 3. We probably are adding a 4th bus. And we run we don't have the ability to get 1,000 kids to our school, but we do have the ability to run like a hub and spoke type model.
Okay.
So we run a hub.
Yep.
We have a bus that goes to the loop, basically,
Got
VIP.
It. Yeah.
And then and the parents get there. So you end up with 70 kids on the bus, or 55. I can't remember what the number is, and then they get them back to school. So it's not like as a elaborate route as others, but we run, to certain shopping centers and stuff like that. So, you've got to figure those things out. And I would just say, yeah, I've talked about this. I'm, connected somewhat with the state leadership, and they're aware, of what we're doing. I think the trouble they have is they run a really big program budget from the state allocation of dollars, and it's hard to get that to like our kind of concepts to their top down mechanism to like really match. And
you're literally probably talking about turning the Titanic, right? I mean, just something that it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a lot of time. But from my perspective, our children, our youth, and the leadership of them, that's the future of our country. Right. And good, bad, or indifferent, the current education model that we have is largely a public education model for the majority of our kids. And so we have to move that ball forward.
It's mostly broken. I mean, I've shown you some data on absenteeism and stuff like that, attendance rates. It's actually pretty pathetic in most schools, especially on the high poverty side. And it's incumbent on adults to do what's necessary there. The kids can't decide this stuff for themselves.
Right.
They shouldn't. Mine can't and are not allowed to.
Right.
And so, we've got to be working through that. We have really good partners on certain state agencies, and mostly nonprofit world. Like I mentioned, New Schools and some others. Alabama Policy Institute, Alabama Forestry as well. That organization is supportive of us on a general basis. I'm on like a panel there in January and certain things. So they do, they're big pro education, like whatever we can do to make schools better to help employers and employees do better over time. That's what they're for. So there's industry groups that are kind of catching on to this too. But no, I mean, in the state, it's probably one of the biggest issues we have is everybody talks about workforce kind of around the country. But I think in Alabama, that's a very pointed subject. And I would argue that there is less done collectively on the education side to really make a dent in this problem. We've seen some scores increase. Let me say that a little bit differently. There's been some scores increase. A lot of that has been coming out of COVID when kids didn't go to school. Okay, so let's just say the bar there was really low. So let's not compare ourselves to what happened in 2021.
Right.
That would be criminal.
Right.
But the other part is they are, they're working to try to, I kind of forgot.
Yeah, you were talking about scores and improving scores and things like that. That's okay. We can cut it. Last question for you, Jordan. What can we as a local community and as a legacy and leadership community do to help Accel Academy or help advance education? What can one or two people do from your perspective to move that public education ball forward?
Well, I mean, there's a few different things. I'm not going to this isn't meant to be like a plug in a sense of donations or whatever, but we do accept private donations from folks. Anybody can help. We actually have a pretty growing, and I would, I'd welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody about this or our leadership. I don't plan to pretend to have all the answers about this, but we have a pretty big growing career in technical education footprint in our school.
Okay.
We actually we lease some space from another college.
Okay.
We partner with Bishop State in a way.
Wonderful.
We're doing multiple things there. So anybody who has the ability to take, whether it's, let's say you work and have a painting business or whatever.
Okay.
Electrician. And you can take a kid, whether it's like an apprenticeship or an intern for a summer job or shadow or something like that. It could be for a whole host of careers. I just picked those two.
Right. Right.
And that would be great.
Okay.
So there's certain ways I think that, as we talk about, I guess I would say we're talking about state political leaders and how do they pay attention more to what's happening and how do they help the whole system improve. I think it's also incumbent upon everybody to, like, what is one thing you can do?
Yep.
And probably if you just did that locally, meaning if so-and-so painting could take in one kid and kind of have them there as an apprentice for 3 to 6 months on Fridays.
Yeah.
We don't work on Fridays.
Right.
They could get them on Fridays. I bet over time that stuff, that I believe those small things stack up and it'll have an impact, especially if we collectively can get kind of behind that type thing. And I'm not just talking about for our school, by the way. I'm saying this more from the entire. Yeah, because unless we actually make change, like there's nothing that's going to change. So it has to be deliberate.
A friend of mine says, "Do for one what you wish you could do for all." Yeah. Right, and that's exactly what you're talking about. In your own way, whatever it is, whatever field you're in, try to do for one what you wish you could do for all. So,
and I think the future, what I would hope is that number one, we don't pretend to have like all the answers. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I'll say charter schools generally are a piece of kind of the solution to this greater problem. Yep. There's more that has to be done. Churches, like all of these places where youth are, have to do a better job. We as a school, an institution, don't pretend to have all the answers in our field. Right. I think we're willing to work with anybody who will help us.
I love it.
If there's somebody who wants to come by and help reading kids in the afternoons or something like that. Yeah. So I say that too, like, what can you do? There's come by an hour a week, we can hook you, after school, we have certain personalized learning things where
you can help with that.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways that anybody sitting at home or whatever can help. So we don't pretend to have all the answers in this school, but I do think we have a good leadership that has the right focus. We're not worried about we really eliminate distractions. So if it's not helping our kids,
right, you're going to move it out.
Yeah, we're not going to do it. Yep. And I think that's deliberate. The board has had a lot of trust in me and our superintendent, Dr. Furl, who I just want to again say, like, this guy's a godsend to us too.
Awesome.
He's the right person for this opportunity at this time.
Yep.
And we're fortunate to have him. I think he's fortunate to have this institution from that standpoint. Like, it's the right model for him. It's the right place for him. Yeah. It's all that. So that good fell on for him. So it's a really good partnership on a personal level. And then, we push him hard.
Yeah. It sure sounds like
he pushes us too.
I love it.
I mean, make no mistake. It's a two-way thing. And I hope that other schools and people are doing, not moving as aggressive. I don't mean to say that in a bad way. I'm just saying they're with a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Because
our youth are at stake.
Yeah. And it's like every year you don't do something, it's okay. There's 45,000 kids in Mobile County Public Schools.
Wow.
So there's 5,000 a class or something like that. I don't know, whatever that is. Yeah. So every year you don't, it's like 5,000 or what?
Right.
I mean, half those are probably lost or something.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So I think there's got to be some kind of sense of urgency involved, and I think that is incumbent upon, tying it back to kind of your purpose here. It's like that's incumbent upon leaders to actually create that sense of urgency, or find people that share that sense of urgency.
Yeah. So Jordan, you've obviously donated a lot of your time, energy, and efforts for Accel Academy. What is, if you had to pull one why are you doing that?
Guilt.
Okay.
So, I grew up with every educational advantage possible. I mean, sit here, you read off that, and it's like, it's just a very different set of experiences than most of these kids get. And so whatever I can do to kind of put these kids in a better position than maybe otherwise, I mean, that's, I think, kind of what, it's a Luke 12:48 type thing. So
I love it. So because of the privilege that you perceive that you had growing up and the opportunities that you have, you want to, as much as possible, allow others to be afforded at least better, if not similar, opportunities.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, I mean, I hope my kids see that in that sense. My kids generally have, and yours too, have all the educational advantages they can. And there's a lot of locally, this is also what I tell people is, there's so much focus, like, nationally on problems or international or something like that. Go drive like 6 blocks that way.
Yeah.
Right. And
sure.
Like, find some people that are struggling and things like that. This isn't that hard to figure out. So I think there's a lot of local things we can pay attention to, and there's a lot of it's more meaningful, I think, locally, because you see it, you can feel it.
Right.
And then I think it's also more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So, you donating food to a food bank here is going to be a faster situation than it going on a truck to across the country or something like that. No offense to how people manage
how they help
donations. Yeah. I'm just making the point that we need, there's a local aspect to it, and that why is important to me. I've been blessed my whole life with lots of advantages, and it's afforded me, I'll just say, the opportunity to make mistakes that weren't, didn't kill me. Theoretical sense. So, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and my career, and make a lot.
Yeah.
And, but I think that like the foundation that I have from parents, from people that I know, from school, whatever, have allowed me to kind of continue to stay afloat in that situation.
Yeah.
And, manage some type of resilience.
Right.
And so I think that's important. And I think if we can get the foundation right on a lot of these kids, it's gonna, but make everybody better.
I love it. Wonderful. Well, Jordan, I've enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much for the work you're doing in our community, and for the board and Dr. Furl and all those teachers who are being pushed hard. So we're super grateful for that, and grateful for you being generous with your time and sharing with us about Accel Academy. So thank you, buddy.
Thanks, David. And I appreciate it. And again, if anybody wants to get in touch or anything, be happy to connect to anybody in the school or however it should work. But it's a big endeavor, and we can use all the help we can get.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Legacy and Leadership with David McKean, and you're able to take away at least one nugget that you can implement in your daily life. If you've got questions or ideas for future shows, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call me at 251-648-6461, or you can email me at legacyandleadershipgoal@gmail.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.